there were some points along my journey where I thought I had breast implant illness. This is karma. This is my karma. I'm like disgusted with myself at this point. I think that my brain at this point had shut off reality. They look at it and he's like, we got to get you into surgery again. Oh shit. What just happened? I was spiraling at this point. And surprisingly, that's not the nightmare, guys. It gets better. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Hello, if you are new. Oh, I hit the microphone. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Hello, if you are new. My name's Andrea Johnson and I am your spiritual inspiration. And today we are doing a little bit of a different video than what you guys are used to. So guys, I thought this would be a different but fun video to make because this month marks the 8th year post boob job surgery. So I wanted to share my experience with you guys, share just my take on plastic surgery, give you guys the facts on what I wish that I knew going in to plastic surgery or just a boob job in general. So then it will help you guys to make the discernment on if this is right for you. So let's spill the tea over the girls. And if you're reading the title of this video, you probably know that this was not a very pleasant experience for me. To kick off the video, I want to go over the facts on what exactly I got, who I went to, and why. My plastic surgeon, and I looked him up, he's still in business. He is located in Columbia, Missouri. His name is Dr. Concannon. I don't remember his first name. It's been a long time, but I've moved since to Springfield, but I found him just on his radio station ads. Like if you listen to the radio station around that area, he is like the boob job man there. That is what he is known for. Now, what I got, it was 320 cc's. Now, if you're familiar with like how to pick what the sizes are, they measure it in cc's. And then we had different profiles. So I have 320 cc high profile, and the reason why I got high was because that was all that he offered. He doesn't believe in doing anything else, and so I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. Maybe he just likes that kind of style. The cost of my surgery was $6,800, I believe, and I feel that that was pretty modest, and that covered everything, guys. I mean, I didn't have to do anesthesia. I didn't go to a hospital. He doesn't do that. He did like the whole thing in his office, which was part of the reason why I chose him, was because how easy and convenient it was. It was like a boob job factory. That was so bad. Okay, so I want to talk about the consultation a little bit. He was my first consultation and I didn't do any other consultations. This was good and bad for me. I didn't really know what I was getting into, guys. I did all the research that I could, probably what you guys are doing now. I walked in, I had an idea of what I would like, but I wanted to get a professional opinion, right? This vlog is not about bashing anybody. I'm just going off of my perception and my experience. When he came in, he was very confident and he was very assured with what he could give me. Now, I really like that in plastic surgeons, but when it kind of goes against how I feel, that should have been my red flag to not go with this plastic surgeon, right? He was very confident in that I needed high profile. He was gonna give me the size that I needed. And I felt very pressured at this point because of how like confident and like just hard he came at me. Like, oh my God, did I give an opinion or not? Or like, is my opinion wrong? So I started really second guessing what I wanted. I did my research and I did not want high profile. He said silicone was safe, which, you know, I did all the research and I wasn't sure if I was gonna go saline or silicone. And if you guys know this, there's a difference between a saline bag, a silicone bag. Saline, it can pop easier, but it's safe essentially. It's not silicone, which silicone is a metal. I had some concerns and then I looked into like the gummy bear option. That was, I don't know if it's still a thing or not. He said that all that was hocus pocus and that there's no proof behind breast implant illness. Done deal. And I'm like, okay. I felt very unsure of myself. The consultation was so quick. I tried on the size that he was recommending. I tried on a couple, like 1 cup up and 1 cup down. I end up just like doing what he tells me to do. I am an internal battle with what I want. Going against my intuition, I scheduled the surgery, and it was going to be, I think, 2 weeks out from the day that I had my consultation. So he can get you in and out pretty quick. I go home and I'm kind of conflicted. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like everything was very abrupt. I felt like any kind of opinion that I had wasn't taken into consideration, that he was like, either you do this or we don't do the surgery. And so that should have been my red flag on don't do the surgery. If you are not on the same page of your plastic surgeon, and if you don't get a good vibe from them, if you do not like them, that will impact your surgery 100%. Fast forward to the day of the surgery, I'm still internally conflicted because it's going against what I truly want for myself on as far as the size. And I'll just tell you guys, I wanted bigger boobs. I felt like the size that he picked for me was very modest, and don't get me wrong, like there's nothing wrong with that at all. I just did not like how they were looking in photos that I've seen in other girls, like high profile with that size. He picks your size dependent upon like how big your chest essentially is, your width in your arms. Like there's this whole scientific metric behind how to pick the size of your cup, essentially, to make it to where it's aesthetically pleasing and not plastic Barbie looking. And don't get me wrong, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if some people do really like that. You can only go so big depending upon how big your chest cavity is, essentially, or like, you know, how big you are as a person. So back then, I think I might have been even smaller than what I am now. So I was very petite, and they had some concern with how big that I wanted to go. Here's me, like flat-chested A's wanting double D's, right? And I could not get across in my mind like why I could not have that. And it was because of how tiny I was, and your chest can only hold so much weight and the skin can only stretch so much. So if you go too big, it can really hurt your chest, as well as cause some health issues, and then also cause bubbling under the skin, where the skin is like so tight because your boobs are so big, you can actually see the outline of the implant. So they were trying to prevent that. And so they were going more safe than being sorry. So here's me not understanding this information and going in again and being like, hey, like I'm not okay with the size. Can we just see like what we can do? Like, what is your professional opinion on the biggest that we can go? What do you feel safe with going on me that you feel won't cause me health issues? And that's what I said. I was at that point of where I was okay with the unnatural look. I just didn't want it to compromise my health. So he's like, okay, I'll figure it out whenever I get in there and I actually see like what can fit in your chest. Fast forward, going into surgery. It's in his office, mind you. No anesthesia. I just get a heavy sedative and they numb you up really good. So I am knocked out. Like I remember going into the operating room, but I don't remember much after that. But I woke up in the middle of the surgery. And surprisingly, that's not the nightmare, guys. It gets better. And I see like the curtain over my head, and I'm just kind of like, oh, are we done? And the nurse like was like, and she's like, oh, you're awake. And I'm like, yeah, are we done? And she's like, nope, we're right in the middle of it. And I'm like, oh shit. He pops up over the curtain. He's like, are you okay? He's like, can you feel anything? Like, no. And so I sit there and I'm just having a conversation with him and the nurse, and we're just shooting this shit, really. And honestly, like I don't remember exactly what the conversation was, but I could not feel a thing. The cool thing about this though was I understood what he was talking about when he said that he was gonna see what would fit on my chest. So essentially, because I was awake, I could see this process, and he showed me what they were gonna look like before he closed me up to see if I thought that they were good. What they end up doing is they pump your chest full of air to get the measurement to see what the implant will actually look like before putting the implant in. smart, right? He pumped me up full of air and he went above a little bit. I think he ended up going to like 350, and that ended up being way too much. I don't say way too much, but it ended up being too much to where he was concerned about the skin. He brought a mirror out and showed me what it looked like before he put them in. And I'm like, oh wow, yeah, like those look pretty good. So he did it, closed me up, like, and I was on my happy drugged up way. They wrap you up really, really tight and a bandage, and they put you in this medical surgery bra. Like I could not take it off. And I was still on pain meds at this point. I was fine. The whole drive home, I was fine. No sickness, no nothing. I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is such a breeze. So I get home, my husband gets me on the couch and gets me all set up, and you have to lay on your back. Like you cannot, obviously you don't want to lay on your chest or anything like that. You have to lay straight on your back. And it is the most painful thing, guys, laying straight on your back with the boobs done. Because the best way that I can explain it is it feels like somebody is sitting on your chest. You're not used to this heavy weight on your chest. And even though they don't weigh a lot, it feels like a lot is stuck to you. So it was very hard to breathe. It was very hard to move around. It felt very tight, and then they're compressed with the bandage. It was very uncomfortable, and I ended up being in a lot of pain hours later. Like I remember I actually cried, and I was popping pain meds like crazy. And I understand this more about myself now after having several surgeries. I metabolize medicine very quickly, and that is essentially why I woke up, was because I was metabolizing the drug faster than it could keep me under. So I do the same with painkillers. I don't know why I do this, it just happens. So I have to up my dosage all the time for pain medicine. I hate taking pills. I hate taking any kind of pain medicine because it just F's with your system. Fast forward to, I think it's like 2 days later, you actually get to go back, and then they take the bandage off and they let you actually see what it looks like. My husband didn't go with me on this. My stepmom took me, and so we go in and they unwrap me, all that stuff like that. I am on painkillers at this point too, but I'm still coherent. And I see them for the first time. This is where I wish somebody would have explained to me the psychological impacts of plastic surgery. And this was probably the biggest lesson I have ever learned with plastic surgery and mental health, and how tied in we are to our body. Oh my God, it was awful. And this was not even the nightmare. This is where I was like, I should have chose a different surgeon. Even me seeing them before still did not look the way that they look. So they were like up even more than they are now, like in my neck. Like I cannot even describe to you. And they just did not look like a boob. Like they were just round and in your face. Like I'm like, what the fuck did I just do to myself? So I'm sitting there just kind of like in shock. And so they, you know, give me the instructions on the bra and all that stuff. And I think I had to wear the bra for like 2 weeks. Yeah, that was, I think the post-care was being bandaged up and wearing the bra for 2 weeks, and then no exercise for 2 weeks. So no running, no, the only thing I could do was walk, no lifting for I think like a month or 2 months or something like that. But I could do legs or things like that. Just side note if you guys are curious. At this point, like, you know, I'm okay to like walk around. I'm not like bedridden or anything. Like I'm fine. I'm just on some painkillers right now because the pain is still there. But my mental health went to shit. It went to shit, guys, after that. And I went home and my husband got off of work and I showed my husband. And, you know, obviously he's pleased. But I'm just like, what did I do? Like, I was spiraling at this point. It's like one of those things, it's the weirdest thing of like, I didn't want to look at them, but I wanted to look at them. And each time like I went into the, like passed by a mirror, I had to look at them thinking that they would change within like a certain amount of, like an hour. And it's like I just became really hyper focused on my boobs. Like everything was about my boobs. And I hated that. And I got really down, and I want to say like this was post-surgery depression, and they do warn you of this, that this can happen after plastic surgery. And yes, I've had other plastic surgery done after my boobs. This helped me prepare for mentally. I will link my nose job vlog, my first one that I did, going over this on how I prepared myself mentally to avoid that depression. This is where the nightmare kicked in. It was 1 week after surgery. I had asked him when I went back after post-op if it was okay if I could sleep on my side because of how much pain I was in on my back. And he goes, yes, you can sleep on your side, just be careful. Biggest mistake ever. Do not sleep on your side. So I didn't sleep on my bed the entire, like, I think it was at least for a week or maybe even 2 weeks. I slept on the couch propped up, so like with pillows. Turned to my side, and I was very, very careful. Like I could barely sleep anyway because of how much pain I was in, but being mindful on like if I move a certain way, it could really cause some issues. I thought I was fine. I remember the movement I made. I had my arm underneath me and I kind of twitched a little bit, and it wasn't even like this great, like huge, I didn't roll over or anything like that. I just remember like making this little movement, kind of trying to get myself situated. I kind of sat there and I'm like, something didn't feel right about that. And there was no pain associated with it. Like I didn't feel pain when I did that. I went to sleep and I woke up in so much pain. So much pain. Right here on the side of my boob. This is not normal. Something is wrong. Like you just know that something is up, and I freaked out. It hurt so bad. It felt like there was like just like a whole bunch of pressure in my chest, and it burned. It felt like fire all through right here on my side. And it just kept getting like more and more pressure and harder to breathe. Something is not right. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to sleep. I'm just gonna take some more pain medication. Woke up maybe an hour later, and I looked at my boob, and there is like this whelp on like this big bump under my boob, and I freak out. I'm like, oh my God, I popped it. Something happened. I popped it. It's leaking. I have this shit in my system. I start flipping shit, and I'm like shaking, I'm crying. I call his office first thing in the morning, and I'm like, I need to get in today. Something's wrong. Here's what's going on. They're like, oh shit, come in. They look at it, and he's like, we got to get you into surgery again. Oh shit. What just happened? He explained to me that they have to create these pockets to put the implant in, and I got behind the muscle. I forgot to tell you guys that. I got behind the muscle. He made these pockets, and what had happened was when I turned, part of it popped out of the pocket. I was bleeding internally, and that's where the pressure was coming in, and why I felt that fiery like heat. It felt like I was on fire. It was because it was my blood filling in the pocket. It was just getting bigger and bigger. I would say bigger and bigger, but I was basically bleeding out on the inside. This is where it really fucking sucked, guys. He's like, I don't have time to numb you up as much as like we did with the surgery. We're just gonna do what we can and then go from there. And I was in shock. I was in complete shock. I was about to go in, get my boob ripped out, be awake, which mind you, I was awake the last time, but not numbed up completely. I think that my brain at this point had shut off reality. Everything seemed like a dream. I'm pretty sure this is a trauma response. They give me, you know, my IV, they put in, you know, whatever drug they can give me, but we go into surgery and I'm wide awake. I don't feel him cut me open, but I feel him take out the implant, and I feel him have to clean and sew me up. Ugh. I cannot describe to you that feeling. He got a new implant, which kudos to him. He didn't make me pay for it. He has it covered. If anything like happens, I think a year after surgery, it's covered by him. So he gets a new implant, puts it in. He sews up the incision, which you have incisions right under here. Then I go back into the recovery process again. I start over essentially. One boob was behind the other in my recovery. So here I am at this point, horrified, scarred, probably with trauma stuck in my body still. And one boob that is a different size than the other. Whenever you get these done, they are sitting straight up in your chest and they drop over time. But so one was bigger than the other at one point. I'm like disgusted with myself at this point. I leave the office. I am horrified what just happened. I have just extended the recovery process, which sucks. I am on more pain medication, which was horrible. And I still hate the way that they look. And I'm sitting there in the passenger seat just on the way home. And I'm like, this is karma. This is my karma so bad. And I will get into the reason why later. Nothing really more had happened, guys, that was traumatic besides that. It was just my mental health went to shit throughout the whole thing because of how unhappy I was with the end result and my relationship with the plastic surgeon, getting the bad vibe in the beginning. Also just like with my expectations on what they would look like and what I got. There's something about changing your physical appearance, guys, that the mind has to become accustomed to and wrap itself around, and I was not aware of that. And just being hurt and on pain medication and not feeling normal or like 100% yourself, that caused a lot of depression. I honestly was not okay, I don't think, until like at least a month after my surgery. I started to accept them and just be like, okay, this is what I've got. I have got to work on my mindset and be okay with what I have, because I was that constant obsessing about what they looked like how my clothes were fitting or anything like that. It was a constant obsession and it drove me absolutely insane. And then every time I saw them, I was like, this is not what I expected them to look like. This was not what I wanted. And just those thoughts in general, guys, drove me up the effing wall. I have got to change how I'm talking to myself. I've got to change the way that I see these things. And here's me at this point of time. I was not aware like I am now of the mindset and the emotions and your thoughts and things like that. And I even knew that of how I was breaking myself down just with my thoughts of I needed to change them. I started actually doing self-love type of stuff. I started talking to myself in the mirror and just being like, oh my gosh, like my boobs look so good. Like, you know, fake it till you make it type of thing. And I just held the vision that I was going to like them eventually. I held on to hope that eventually they would drop and like they would look more like boob or they would, you know, be more fuller and natural looking. And I just needed to take some time and heal, things like that. So just over time, it got a little bit better. The more I started doing things that I used to do and feel more like myself. So like going back to the gym helps so much. And I didn't realize as well too, of not having that release, that emotional release of the gym, how big of an impact that had on me, of not being able to lift how I used to, not being able to run how I used to or do the classes, and then having some sort of restriction and limitation. That was part of it too, on the mental health and not feeling like myself. I had it in my head, guys, that I was gonna go into this surgery, I was gonna come out with like double D's, looking like a Victoria's Secret model, and life was gonna be golden. Like, that is not how this shit works. There is a healing process that has to happen, until your body actually heals and then accepts like what you have just done. The result isn't gonna be final until like a year later, pretty much for a lot of plastic surgery. Now that I have shared with you guys my experience, I want to share with you a little bit more on my tips to help you avoid what I went through, because initially I examined it and there are some things that I could have changed to avoid some of the pitfalls that had happened. One of them being is understand the reason why you're getting the surgery and why you feel you need to change anything at all. That is one of my biggest, I want to say, takeaway from this whole experience is I don't believe originally why I did the surgery was in alignment with who I really am. Honestly, like my boobs never truly bothered me. And I think that's where I went south with the whole experience. Is typically when people get plastic surgery, it's for something that has they truly want, right? It's like there is something that it can be really improved upon, that they're willing to go through the process of risking their health. They're willing to do all those things because staying the same is more painful than not going through it. So I felt that everything that I had gone through wasn't worth it because my reason for getting it was not good enough. I was just in my vanity, I guess you could say. Honestly, it was a really big knee-jerk reaction and I made the decision very quickly. It wasn't something that I sat with and really thought about. It was just like, oh yeah, I want to get my boobs done. And it was because one of my friends had gotten their nose done. I really wanted my nose done. But at the time, somebody very close to me advised against getting my nose done because they didn't want it to change my face. So the surgery that I ended up getting was my boobs because they were okay with that aspect of it getting done. Then I felt like I had some form of freedom and choice to get that done. So I went ahead and did that and thought it could be okay to make up for the, I don't want to say jealousy or I don't know, this excitement or just wanting my nose to be done too, because I saw, you know, a close friend get it done. And so I didn't actually get the surgery that I had wanted for a very, very long time. And so I just like did what I thought I could do. And so I think subconsciously I held a lot of regret and resentment around the surgery to begin with. And ultimately why I had so many problems, even psychologically, because I was holding like this expectation on what I thought that they should look like, because there really wasn't that much wrong with them. So I'm like, okay, so if I have this now, like I should have like Victoria's Secret double D's, and then I'll like my body more, then I'll like my boobs more, or like then it will be okay, right? And that's not how it works. It all has to start from the inside, loving yourself internally first and not relying on some physical appearance to provide that for you. And when the physical appearance didn't meet expectation and providing that feeling I thought I was gonna have as well too, that's what really caused the psychological disconnect. And then the thought on back of it all of like, I really didn't even want this done. I just did it. And now I'm going through all this pain and even complications on a surgery that really didn't matter that much to me. Like, why did I even do this? You know what I mean? That is my biggest takeaway and lesson that I learned from it. And probably just a really good lesson in life, guys, is know your why. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And is it in alignment with who you are and what you want? Or are you doing it for somebody else? Are you people pleasing? You know, things of that nature. My next tip is you have got to be good with your plastic surgeon. You have to have a good relationship with them. You have to be comfortable with them and you have to like them. Guys, this is huge. And any kind of like plastic surgery or any surgery that you do, you have got to like your surgeon, because that really does impact your results. It truly does. You know, you want them to be confident, you want to feel like you're in good hands and things like that, but you need to be on the same page of what your surgeon can provide and what your expectations are. Try not to hold expectations, but be realistic, guys, okay? Plastic surgeons, their job, like, yes, they want to give you what you want, but they also need to keep your health in mind. And honestly, you are their work and their advertising per se, so they're gonna want you to look natural, right? They're gonna want you to look like a human being, because that's what most people, I say most, some people don't, it's okay. So they're gonna have your best interest at heart, but you need to be in alignment with your plastic surgeon, because if you go in not liking your plastic surgeon, it's going to impact the way you see your results. And at the end of the day, guys, I mean, like, there was nothing wrong with him. Like, he was a good surgeon, right? He just realistically could not give me my expectations on what I had. And so we had a bit of a disagreement on that. And so therefore it skewed my perception of him in his office at the time. Now I can look back at it and see it for what it actually is. So you guys are probably wondering at this point in the video, do I like them? What, you know, what's my experience been so far? Anything about breast implant illness? I will say, guys, there were some points along my journey where I thought I had breast implant illness. I will say that there are times where I taste metal in my mouth and it's very concerning to me. There are times where I feel like my anxiety has been heightened or I've been changed, something like that, you know, chemically on the inside because of this. But ultimately, guys, throughout the years and what I have learned and my own emotional well-being, when I feel those things, when I feel the anxiety, when I taste the metal, when I feel, you know, tired or something like that, I don't believe it's fully my boobs. Now, yes, do I think there is metal in my system? Yes, I truly do. Intuitively, I know this because it's my body, but my body is designed to heal itself. My body is designed to help fight against this. Now, what it did was, because I put extra stress on my body with the surgery and from what I believe, like the metals, it's going to change me chemically. And so now I have to do different things to accommodate for that stress. I have to take extra care of myself. So things where like my stress tolerance or load as what I had before is not as high. So then I had to learn how to handle my stress in different ways. So like my immunity could drop more. I could get more, you know, anxious, or I could be more tired, or, you know, I started when I taste metal in my mouth, I start actually analyzing like, okay, what's going on? Like, what am I feeling? Side note, guys, I learned in Kundalini yoga, when you do, and in energy work, when you do detoxify the body, you do actually taste metal. And you do feel nauseous, you do feel some vertigo and things like that. But that is a sign that your body is detoxifying in the moment. Now, don't take this, you know, for everything. If you're consistently feeling that way, maybe you should go see somebody. But when I felt those things, I really had to analyze what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what I was doing. So it's not to say that it's really breast implant illness. It's just that you're getting used to accommodating your system, or figuring out how to not overload your system or manage your stress in a better way, because now your body's energy is focused on healing this aspect that you have. It's going to constantly be detoxifying it. And so your lymphatic system may get, you know, a little, I say clogged up, or however you want to figure it out. But the way in which that I have learned to deal with this is, you know, I consistently do energy work. I do extra things to take care of myself, as far as I go to the sauna. I obviously do movement and I work out, trying to get, you know, movement and the lymphatic system going in my body to help detoxify. My diet is better. So it's just, I feel like where people go south, or they start thinking of breast implant illness, it's just them trying to figure out how they need to manage their body differently in order for it to detox correctly to accommodate for what they have done to it. Now, everybody probably isn't the same. As far as some people may not have any issues, but I know for myself, I truly feel like since I had issues to begin with, that plays a part of it, and the stress and the whole situation and how I was seeing it and how I resented them. I really feel like that brought my energy down, and it made me have a tougher time detoxifying. It's all in which how you view the situation. It's just like anything else in life. So I really had to work on my mindset, and I would go, like, it was a roller coaster, guys. There were times when I would really regret them and be like, why did I do this? I really feel like it's all in your mind, honestly, and the thoughts can place stresses and whatnot. So I really had to change and how I was seeing it in the situation. And honestly, now, guys, like, I like them. I would not change anything about it. I would not change any experience that I had, because it taught me so much. And yes, they do make me feel more confident, surprisingly. I do like to show them off. I do feel, though, like sometimes if I sit up like this, because they're so high profile, I do feel like my boobs are in your face, and that's a little uncomfortable. So I realized that naturally, to counteract this, I have hunched over, and I don't like that I do that now, just naturally. It's kind of like a reaction on, I don't really want my boobs in people's faces, and especially at work, I will hunch over like this. Anyway, that's here nor there, but the point of being that, yes, I've accepted them. I really like them. They do make me feel more confident, and I have to change them out in like 2-3 more years. Will I get new ones or what? And I probably will. Like, I'm so used to them now. They are just part of me. I consider it who I am. I probably won't get high profile, but I will see what technology has to offer as far as like not doing silicone. But I do believe that before getting any kind of augmentations or plastic surgery, you just need to be really aware of what you're getting yourself into. Why are you doing it? And is it in alignment with you? Be sure you have all your information. Be sure, you know, that you're ready for the post-surgery recovery that you're gonna have to go to. You know, is that worth it? You know, there's a ton of things to consider. So at the end of the day, like, it's ultimately your decision, and it's how you're gonna view it in your mind that will determine your result, honestly. Besides, if there's something physical wrong, to like I had my nightmare issue. Ultimately, like, if you tell yourself it looks beautiful and you do like the work to self-accept and just like accept that this is, you know, the new part of you, like this is a new aspect of you, of who you are now. I hope this video helped you. It's super long, I know, but I really wanted to share with you guys my experience, because it was an experience. It changed my life. It helped me grow, ironically, not just in my boobs, but it helped me grow as a person and learn a really good life lesson. And I want to share it with you guys to hope that, you know, you don't follow the same road, or you at least prepare yourself. So anyway, I'm sending you all my light and all my love. Satnam.